Hello FPL managers and welcome back for another video. My name's Jack and today we're discussing the knee-jerk reaction for blank game week 28. If you guys are enjoying the FPL videos, don't forget to drop a like and subscribe as it really does help out the channel. Also to make sure you guys don't miss any future videos in the build up to blank game week 28. Plus a massive double game week 29. Make sure the notification bells are turned on. And with that being said, let's jump into the video. So first of all, let's have a look at the most transferred in and transferred out players this week, discuss which players I would recommend getting into the teams and whether or not I agree with the other transfers out. First of all, let's have a look at the most transferred in players, and it's quite surprising to see here Chilwell, the most popular player to come into the squads ahead of blank game week 28. Obviously, the Chelsea asset has been good in his last couple of matches, providing returns in each of his last two, and just giving us a hint of how good he can be at his brilliant best. Obviously, coming off 8 points in game week 27, plays in blank game week 28, and then Chelsea do double in double game week 29. So if you are keen on jumping on that Chelsea defense, I think Chilwell is a fairly solid asset to look out for. He's coming in at 5.8 million, and we do discuss him a bit later on in the video on the watch list as well. Obviously, Chilwell does get very far up the pitch, has a good chance of getting himself attacking returns, and he's put up pretty good stats in terms of expected goal involvements over his last two fixtures. So definitely, if you're looking to jump on the Chelsea defense, I think Chilwell could be one worthwhile targeting, as Chelsea definitely have looked a lot more solid, especially in recent game weeks from a defensive perspective. Harry Kane, obviously another very popular transfer, and he's coming off 13 points in game week 27. He's got some really good fixtures as well, despite Tottenham not doubling in game week 29. They do play in game week 28, have a pretty good fixture in game week 29, and a fairly strong single game week fixtures for the next 4 to 5 game weeks as well. So despite not doubling, they do have some pretty good fixtures coming up, and obviously Kane is the best Tottenham asset in my opinion. We are going to have a look at one other Tottenham asset on the watch list as well, which I think you guys should definitely be keeping an eye on, as Tottenham have not only Harry Kane been scoring goals, but Tottenham has also been increasing their clean sheet tally in recent game weeks. So maybe some of their defensive assets also worthwhile having a look at in terms of some differential options there in defense. But obviously Harry Kane, a very good option. He's a player that's on our watch list personally that we're looking to get into our teams fairly shortly, especially with Erling Haaland not quite being up to his clinical best in terms of massive point scoring. Harry Kane's actually done very well in terms of matching him for points over recent game weeks. So maybe Harry Kane could be an option to target, especially with that rotation risk associated with Manchester City. And Ollie Watkins, another really good forward option as well. I'm very happy to have him in my team this week. He's been superb for us since we brought him in a couple of weeks ago. Has provided 2 goals in his last 3 fixtures for Aston Villa, and is getting so many good chances, getting to such good positions. Could have easily had himself another goal in this game away to West Ham if it wasn't for a very good Areola save at close range. Watkins also picked up 2 bonus points in that fixture in game week 27. The good thing with Watkins is that he has an excellent fixture in game week 28, and he's got a good double as well in game week 29. Leicester away, one of those fixtures in his double game week, which is a good fixture to target for some goal scoring capabilities. Looking at the most transferred out players, interesting to see 2 Man City assets here in Haaland and De Bruyne being 2 of the 3 most transferred out players, and 3 premium players being transferred out as well here, should I say, with Mo Salah. First of all, looking at Haaland though, coming off 6 points in game week 27, obviously good that he got himself a goal, but if you are paying that much for Erling Haaland, you are going to want more consistent returns, and maybe with Man City's fixtures not quite being as good as some other teams, obviously blanking this week, plus I don't have the best fixtures from double game week 29 onwards, maybe looking elsewhere in the for replacements in the forward line for Haaland. I think Kane's a really good option, Watkins as well, if you've already got Kane in the team. He's a great replacement for Erling Haaland there. Mo Salah as well, another popular transfer. He blanks in game week 28. Could have easily had himself an 8 or 9 point game if he converted his penalty against Bournemouth. Being a Salah owner, this was incredibly frustrating, especially seeing Harry Kane put up 13 points in the next game after Salah. As if Salah did score here, he would have picked himself up 1 or 2 bonus points. Would have been looking a lot better in terms of an FPL asset for coming game weeks if he had converted that penalty, as you would have been able to just drop into the the bench this week and then have him starting for double game week 29. But obviously, after missing that penalty, there is a bit of bias by FPL managers seeing that he's put up 0 points. Let's just get him out now ahead of his blank in 28. Obviously, this could be a good option if you're looking to bring in Harry Kane, but I still think Salah is a good pick despite blanking in game week 28. You can just drop him to the bench this week or free hit out of that issue and then have him back for his double in game week 29. As obviously, despite missing the penalty, he is getting good chances for Liverpool. He does have a very good XG, so I still think Salah is a good option. And if he scored that penalty, I think a lot of FPL managers will be thinking differently about what to do with Mo Salah. And Kevin De Bruyne, I do think is a good transfer out as well. Just the 1 point in game week 27. His starting minutes have been a bit inconsistent recently. Plus, with Champions League fixtures coming up for Man City, I think the rotation risk is just going to increase with their assets. So I think De Bruyne are good at transfer out as well. So after discussing these most popular transfers, let's have a look at our blank game week 28 transfer watch list. I've tried to include a few more differential players in this list, just to try and cast your guys' eyes on a couple of players that maybe haven't been speculating too much as FPL assets. The first one here is Jack Harrison. He is now returned in 2 out of his last 3 games for Leeds, picked himself up a goal and an assist in his most recent fixture, and Leeds could be a side maybe worthwhile keeping an eye on. They've got Wolves away in game week 28. Some good fixtures after this as well. Obviously, Harrison doesn't have a massive predicted points in the next 6, but at 5.7, definitely a player to keep an eye on. Obviously, unlucky that he scored that own goal. It was originally given as a March goal. Then it changed to Harrison own goal after a bit of review by FPL. So unfortunate there for Harrison that he did take those minus points for the own goal. Probably would have picked up more bonus. I got 3 bonus, so I would have had a bigger points tally if the own goal wasn't given his way. So at 5.7, definitely a player worthwhile keeping an eye on if he can continue this good form for Leeds. Ben Shaw, as we discussed as well, Everton at home in game week 28, a great fixture in blank game week 28. Then Chelsea do double with a pretty good double, in fact, in double game week 29. Chilwell's predicted points aren't massive either, as I think fantasy football figs do have him as a slight risk of rotation. But I think if he can keep getting more minutes for Chelsea, he's going to be very, very productive. As when he does play, as he showed last season, he did have one of the highest points per games out of any defender last season. So when he does play, he gets forward, gets assists and goals, and he can pick up clean sheets. That Chelsea defense has been in good form recently. So if you're looking for a good differential defender, I think Chilwell a player worthwhile considering. Ollie Watkins, as we discussed as well, I am waiting for his ownership to just skyrocket, as I think he's a really, really good forward asset, especially if people are selling Erling Haaland and already have Harry Kane in the team. Watkins a great replacement. Obviously, Tony as well, a very good option. He's also on the watch list as the last option here. Another good forward option. He's a little bit more expensive than Watkins at 7.8. Obviously, Tony does have that yellow card concern as well, just 2 yellow cards away from a suspension. So if you don't want to take the risk with Tony, or you've already got Tony in the team, you're looking for another forward pick, Watkins a really good player to consider. Bournemouth at home in game week 28 doesn't get much better than that in terms of fixture difficulty, and I think in game week 29 as well is a good chance for him to add more points with a really good double. He's got some great predicted points across the next 6. He does have the 3rd highest predicted points across the next 6 fixtures out of any player on this watch list. I also wanted to touch on James Maddison. Surprisingly, he was already one of the more transferred in players this week. Didn't really expect this, but I think Maddison a really good option to consider as well. Brentford away in blank game week 28, not the worst fixture considering that it is a blank game week. And then in double game week 29, a really, really good double for Leicester, plus some superb fixtures in game weeks 30 and 31 and onwards. I think those Leicester assets could be ones that worthwhile keeping an eye on. I think James Maddison, probably the best Leicester asset in my opinion. I think he's the most consistent in terms of providing attacking returns, and he's put up some pretty good numbers in terms of expected goal involvements over recent game weeks. So James Maddison, definitely a player to keep an eye on. If he can hit his straps, start getting goals and assists, he could be a really good differential for double game week 29. And Ben Davies, he was the Tottenham asset that I did want to discuss at 4.8. He's been in good touch for Tottenham, getting consistent starting minutes, getting forward, providing quite a few attacking returns for Tottenham so far this season. Definitely a player slipping under the radar. Southampton away in game week 28, a really good fixture, especially from a defensive perspective. Southampton haven't scored too many goals this season, and Davies always has that chance of getting forward and getting himself an assist. Did have a really, really good FPL season quite a few seasons ago now, but I think think if he can keep getting minutes for Tottenham, he's going to be a nice option there at 4.8 and a great differential in defence, along with Ben Chilwell on this watch list. Rico Henry as well for Brentford. I think he's a good pick. The difference between him and Brighton defenders is that he does play in game week 28 and doubles in 29 as well. Obviously, Brentford and Brighton both did double in 27. Brentford got that fixture in blank game week 28 against Leicester, so a good chance for a clean sheet here for Brentford. Obviously, Leicester's attack has been pretty solid so far this season, despite other parts of their team not quite working so well, but Rico Henry, a decent option to consider as well at 4.5 if you haven't already got him. I know he was a popular pick on some wild cards ahead of game week 27. Harry Kane, of course, as we touched on, he's got one of the highest predicted points out of any player across the next 6 weeks in FPL with 32.8, which is the highest on this watch list as well. And he's got the second best predicted points for blank game week 28 with 5.5 amongst players on the watch list, only behind Tony with 5.9. He's got Leicester at home, a really good chance for an attacking return. Leicester's defense not been the strongest so far this season, so I think Tony a really good option to have in the team as well. Him and Watkins, two of my favourite picks at around that £7 million price tag of 7.5 for forwards. Thanks for watching today's knee-jerk reaction for blank game week 28. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and if you did, drop a like and subscribe. It really does help out the channel, pushes the video out to more people, so it's a great way to support us. Also, to make sure you stay up to date with all of the future FPL videos with blank game week 28 just around the corner, plus a huge double game week 29. We're going to be discussing all things FPL, so make sure the notification bells are turned on. And with that being said, I'll see you guys in the next one.